Up on the website, and I'll show you that. Got the spec sheet up for the last project, the magazine project. Pretty simple. We're going to kind of just go through and do some demos with that over the next few class sessions. Just so you guys are up on that. So other questions, anything that came up as you're starting to work and experiment with InDesign? No. Okay, we'll keep it relatively short. So today we're going to go over kind of designing the magazine cover, and then we'll get into kind of laying out articles and so forth come Wednesday. And again, we'll keep it quick on Wednesday, and we're getting into the holidays with that. So let me get my share going, and we will keep that going. Okay. So up on the website now, you'll find this document, which basically goes through this final project. It's going to be due December 8th for you guys. So it's a 8-page document. We have a cover. We've got 2 articles. One is a 4-page article. One's a 2-page article. And then there's a back cover that you can design. So today we're just going to start with the cover and just kind of what's on a cover and the aspects of the cover, and start to build this document up. So first thing I'm going to do is start with a new document. Again, 8 pages. So file, new document. 8.5 by 11. I don't know why I didn't put that in there as a size. 8.5 by 11 is perfect. Do 8. We want facing pages. I'm going to give it 2 columns just because I like the 2-column format for a magazine, and we're going to keep it a 1/2-inch margin over that. And then I'm going to just hit create. And if I look at my pages, I can see I have pretty much just like we have back over here, right? We've got the cover and we got the articles. So right now my everything is blank. Okay, and I can easily, if I want to, just kind of put stuff in so I can visually understand it. Cover, article 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. And we got the second article, which is a 2-page spread. And we got the just kind of a back cover. Which could be another place that you can kind of get creative with your art, design, and imagery, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we've just kind of got a thing that's starting here. With that, let me get this pulled down so we can see it all. Now that I've got it kind of base laid out, I want to kind of make sure I get it saved. So again, if I'm doing something and you're not getting it, just give a shout out and we'll do that. So we go on the Monday test magazine. That's what I'm going to call it. So yeah, as we're going here, if something comes up, let me go. The internet. Yeah, hopefully it's catching up for you. Again, we'll get this. It's recording, so we'll get this going. All right. So we're going to today do the work on the cover, and one of the first things you guys want to do, of course, over here, and I mentioned that, is pick a subject for your magazine. Again, most magazines are some kind of subject based, whether it be, I don't know, TV, film, gaming, nature, politics, cooking, crafting stuff, food, wine, you know, they're all kind of thematic. So pick a thematic subject for your magazine. And again, I want you to make it up. So I don't want you to be doing, National Geographic, make up something else that's, similar to National Geographic, but come up with your own name and so forth for that. So we're going to do today, I'm going to do something that's nature related or park related. And we're going to just kind of do a cover first, and then we're going to start to get into kind of documenting or putting together the articles, and then the back cover. So this will be kind of a couple day little demo as we go through this. So you guys can, follow along and start this on your own. And by the time we're done, it'll be close to the end and you will have a project done also. All right. So I want to start with the cover. Now, again, most covers are going to be predominantly Photoshop and or Illustrator based, or a combination of the two. I leave that up to you. We will have text on it. We're going to do some text work in InDesign, but we're going to have some basic elements that are going to be found in the magazine. The cover, the masthead, which is what they call the title, or the wording that's on the top of the magazine. And then you'll find things like, barcodes, items that are within the magazine. You'll kind of give you a call out of certain key articles just to kind of get you hyped up on that, depending on the article. So this, and we'll show you this one on national parks. There's a couple little articles over here: a life-changing hike, return of the otters, and a painting giveaway. And then there's the main article that's talking about with bug shots. Okay, so pretty common to call out the small little articles, the main article, and of course this is your masthead. Also included somewhere on the magazine typically is the, if you can see it, there's the date and the price. At this point they have a price on there. No barcode, because they don't sell these in a newsstand situation. And if they did, they would put a separate, they would probably have a separate printing for that, or they would just kind of add some stickers on. So you'll see sometimes magazines with or without a barcode with that. So I want to start with a cover, and I'm going to go back over to my Photoshop. And I started playing with this photo of Dr. King at the MLK the other day. And as you can see, I've got my specs coming in from my lens. I told you on my camera, I don't know what the hell it is. They're always on there. As much as I try to clean it, they're there, but I know I have to kind of dig them up and take them off. So I'm going to do a new document here in Photoshop. And I want it to be 8.5 by 11 at 300 DPI. I've already got that kind of preset. I know that's, I really should be a little bit bigger for my bleed. So I'm going to actually, I'm going to add an inch to that. So I'm going to make it 9.5, the height of 12. That way I'm getting a 1/2 inch extra bleed off on that. Because again, you want your pictures to go off the page a little bit, come InDesign. Because if you add them exactly where it is, the odds of that magazine getting cut funny, they're high, right? I mean, there's a chance it could be off by even a 16th or 32nd of an inch. If you do, you're going to get a little white stripe. Okay, so we make pictures typically bigger, or if we have a color background, whatever, we make them bigger than the page, so we don't have that potential white strip kind of appearance. So that's what we call it, the bleed. So I'm going to give it a little bit of bleed here, not a lot. You don't need to go too much more than normal. And I've already got rulers turned on, so I'm just actually going to go in about a 1/2 inch all the way around. So I know that is where my magazine will be seen. Okay, so putting these guides in shows me this is the part of the area in theory where this inside area is the part that we are worried about, right? So that the outside of these guides are the bleed. So it's kind of like extra image, but I want to make sure definitely if I do any wording or any text or any kind of important image, they're within this margins, okay, inside these guides. Otherwise, if I put like a face near the edge, it's potentially going to get cut off or something like that. So I don't really want that. And I'm going to use the Dr. King image here that I've been working with. I'm just going to select all and copy. I know I got work to do on it, so I'm going to bring it in here and just kind of do it. Here. Let's see. All right, so now we have the king photo. Now I can see right away my picture is too small, so I'm going to want to enlarge it. And of course, I'm going to get rid of those spots, but I'm going to enlarge first to do that. I'm just Command key, and I'm just kind of scaling it up. And what I want to do is kind of figure out where do I want this picture, right? So how high, how low with that. And I'm going to actually stretch it. I'm trying to think, do I want the rock back there? Or do I not? I'm going to come up a little bit. Because I don't, again, this is the cutoff, so I want to kind of keep the end of the statue. So I'm going to have some blank area down here, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec. And I'm going to keep that stone there. I think I'm going to go with just about there. Okay, now I want to add on to the picture. So I'm just going to clone it in. All right, I'm going to go really quick. Again, this is where you do this with Photoshop. Going back, option clicking, and then I'm just going to paint. And I should be pretty close. I'm going to have some kind of, there are some lines in the stone floor, but I can come back in. I'm going to kind of tweak that out a little bit. Now, none of this should print anyway. We should be fine because we're actually below our guide, but you just don't know, right? Depending on how it's cut, you may see parts of this or you may not. So again, I just kind of want to make sure there's no major issues in that with my cloning tool. I'm just going along pretty quickly. A little weird in here, so I'm just gonna clone that a little bit more. I just want to kind of get rid of that line. That one seems normal. That one seems fine. This one gets a little weird. So I'm just going to take this one off as if you can't see it. There, a little blotch. See that little blotch kind of duplicates. I just want to get rid of that just in case. Just copying from another point, another source. I think we're okay with that. So now we've just kind of added to the photo with those elements. And then I can clone out, or I can just use the healing brush. That's going to be the quickest way to get rid of these spots. We've got a solid blue background, so I know we're good to go. And I'm just going to kind of come through and clear up and select out the bad pixels, right? The dust, the sparks, and all that kind of stuff that are within this picture. So when we get done, we're going to have a really nice cover that we can bring back into our publication. So I think I've got rid of most of it there. These are pretty good. I'm just looking for my dots. Muck that's going on. All right. All right. So again, inside the margin is going to be my cover. And then outside is the bleed. That's just the extra area. So when I put it back into InDesign, if they cut this along this line and they're off by even a 1/16 of an inch, I'm not going to get a little white strip. Okay, so that's why we kind of include pictures that go outside of the box, right? So coloring outside the lines is kind of a good thing. All right, so let me give a save here before we get too far in, just in case. And we're going to call this, go back to class list. Ooh. We are the fall still. And we have the test. And I'm gonna call it cover. Okay. Now I want to put words in, and I'm gonna call it this. I don't know. Call it Your Parks Magazine. I'm just making up a name, and I'm going to kind of just put that in here. All right, so somewhere in this area. Oops. Let me do that. Let me do that. Give me a second. Let me see what I got. What did I type? My computer is going slow down. Okay. So this is my magazine title. Now I'm going to fix my type here with this. I don't know what I got on this layer here. Looks like nothing. So I'm going to real quickly do my typography with this, and let me get my screen so it's. And we're on the parks. I'm actually going to undo this. I'm looking here and I'm seeing that I had an uppercase. I want that to be lowercase in case I pick a font that doesn't have that. And let me just pick my character here. Let me just kind of go through, you know, why the black oak was up apparently last time. Again, this is my computer is going a little slow in here. But we're going to pick something that we like. I'll pick something pretty quick. My computer is slowing down. If, just so you know, in your type over here, you see this little like the kind of like the Adobe cloud sign, that means it's like that's a font coming from the cloud. Okay, so if you're ever wondering whether the O is open type, the TT is true type, those are fonts that I have actually installed or I purchased over the years, or if it's something with that kind of symbol, that's telling me it came from Adobe, which is fine. But sometimes you just want to kind of know, where did I get that from? Is that an Adobe font or not? You'll be able to see that there. I'm going to go with this rule boot test. Okay, I got a lot of nice options in here. And black is too much. I'm going to go with the bold. Okay, that's going to be the one type. And then we're going to do the same thing in that typeface here. And we are bold both. Okay, I made those so you can see. I made those both separately so I can control where they go and how big they get. Okay, now I can make them both 72 point, 100 point, whatever. I can do that, but I might want to play with that relationship of viewer and parks and make one bigger or smaller. And I oftentimes do. And I'm really, again, I'm not worried about the number. I'm kind of looking at this visually and how it sits within the page. So I'm going to actually just do Command T to transform, and I'm just going to hold this and scale this up to fit. Now, what my idea is it's going to go behind this statue of Dr. King. So I'm worried, I'm putting it on top, but I know I'm going to be able to take things off of it later. And that's pretty good. I should put a center margin in with this. So my center would be, 1, 4, 4 and 3 is sort of about there is my center. And I'm going to just double check that. Just aligning things up. Center, about close, so about there. And then I have the word your, and I'm thinking maybe I'll just kind of set that up here. Okay. Now I got a little crazy with the colors, but that's okay. When I blue, it really looks actually kind of nice, I think. Now, let me see. I'm trying to get something else working here. What I want is, again, Dr. King's statue to be on front of the word parks. And I know that when I do that, you're going to see enough of this R so you understand it's R. If I went up a little bit or down a little bit more, that could be another P because you're missing that leg. The K is pretty evident, but again, we want to kind of make sure we can see the elements of the letter without doing it. Now I'm going to try this out here. This is the object select tool. It's in the newer version here. What it's doing is kind of analyzing my photo. And what I'm going to do is see if it's going to be able to select my Dr. King statue without me doing really anything. Just going to let it process for a second. And you can see up here in the corner, this little thing is spinning. All right, look at that. So I now just kind of scrolled over it because it analyzed it. And if I click, it captured it, right? So it may, it captured him. So I'm gonna just actually copy, right? Because I got the marching ants. And then I'm gonna make a new layer and I'm gonna paste it. And I can see I just have Dr. King in there, right? You can see just him. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push him up this layer above the word parks. And see, by doing that, I've now got him on top of the letters. Okay, so it's a really kind of a cool thing now they have these object select tools working, that it will actually pick out, you know, the main objects in there. I could have it select things, I could draw on top of things, I could kind of magic wand it and stuff, but this is really saving like a bazillion hours of time. And I'm just want to look and see how close it did up here. We got a little bit of a halo with that. So in this case, I could come back through and mask it. Or I'm just going to, you know, in this case, I'm going to, for the sake of speed, I'm going to just come through and actually do a little erasing job. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of get rid of some of this little blue halo that's going on in here. I'm okay getting rid of it. There's really nothing going to be behind it. And I think when I did the object select, I could have done a little bit more. You know what? I'm going to take it all the way back. Let me just do it this way. And let me make a mask because that'll be easier. Because if I get off track here, it's going to get a little wacky. So I'm just going to do a magic wand tool, which is everything around it. I'm going to make a mask. Okay, so now that's been masked out. Right, and I can kind of see that. And I want to invert my mask. So I'm going to select and mask area here. There's an invert down here. Boom, I got it. And you can see it here in the mask where I've got that little blue edge, basically the sky coming in. So now I'm going to actually come through and get my paintbrush a little bit smaller. And I'm going to do this fairly quickly so we can move on with that. I know I went a little bit heavy there, but it's only on the pink that we're even going to probably see this, because what it's doing is grabbing the blue from the sky. And again, I probably could have adjusted the mask when it was selected, or adjusted it here in the layer itself, but we're just going to move on. So it's not too bad. A little bit here. Okay, a little here. Turn that back on. That's not too bad. Okay, so we've got that. And again, typically the other things we're going to find are the date and the price and all that. I'm going to use that and we're going to put that in InDesign. Okay, so I just basically have my mastheaded, what we call the wording, the title of your magazine, and then in this case, the imagery. So let me save this. I have my Photoshop to come back to if I need to. Now I can bring in Photoshops to InDesign and just get a little clunky because they get a little thick. So I'm going to actually export this. I'm gonna do JPEG, and I'm gonna do, you know, best quality. Make it great. And don't need anything there. It's going to be 6 megs, and that's okay. Export. And I'm going to put it into our folder. Again, this will make it, you want to kind of keep things organized as you go, so you know where they are to find them when you're back into InDesign and so forth. Okay, so I have this file as a JPEG that I'm going to import. I have it as a PSD, which I'm going to utilize if I have to change something. Okay, so we're just going to minimize that for now, minimize that. We're back over here, and we've got our cover. Now I can get rid of the word cover here because I know what it is. I'm going to give myself a nice big box to put my picture in. Command D for importing it. And I got to get my folder 10. I don't want to just buy a new computer just so you could have only like 2 files on it. And cover. And you can see it's quite big. So I now need to come back to my properties, and I want to fit content to frame. And I'm good. I can see I have my bleed on there, and I can see where my magazine is going to end. That kind of a gray line going along. All right, so I'm well within the area, not having to worry about things getting cut off. Okay, and that's really what we're talking about here. Now I'm going to add a couple of things, like we're going to have an article on, you know, Dr. King. Okay, so we have the MLK monument. Now we're going back to our characters, and we're literally just kind of doing this as we want. That meta was working out nice the other day. I'm going to enlarge this a little bit, and I'm going to make it white, clicking my fill. And I want to just see how it fits out here. It's not too bad. I can probably go a little bit bigger. I'm going to reduce the leading, which is space between lines. I'm going to up it just a little bit in size, and maybe I'll go with the bold. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so that's here. So that's going to be one article. And then I'm going to have maybe a couple call outs of what else we're going to have in this magazine. I'm going to pull it over just a hair. So again, and things you should be doing is like looking at reference. So like I'm going to just look at the reference here on this magazine and what they did. So I encourage you always to kind of be looking and trying to figure out, you know, how can you do it? Okay, again, we're designers, we're not inventors. So our job should be to, you know, look at stuff, evaluate it, bring it in, and kind of transform it, give it our own twist, type of thing. And your parts, I'm going to do. I'm going to do so I just got 2 other articles, and again, I'm selecting them. I'm going to do a slightly different typeface, doesn't matter what I did. I'm going to do the basketball. We'll do that for now. I'm going to enlarge these up. I'm just kind of selecting a number, see where they look, and I'll come back. Again, I don't want this to overwhelm that. So that's going to be too big. 24 probably is good. We are Make sure that's a white fill on that. And I'm going to drop down the leading. I like things to be like kind of nice, tightly leaded. I think that kind of works out well. And again, I can move this around now, right? I can keep it lined up here. And you'll see as I move, I get these little, like in this case, a little green guide that popped in. That's InDesign telling me that we're lined up. Okay, so the computer tries to do it with you. And if you're not sure, you can click these two elements, of course, and then you can go to your align tools in here, and you can kind of align them, right? Click them that way, opposite way, whatever. So you can get things to kind of line up perfectly with what you're trying to do. That's okay. I don't think that reads too bad. Now, it sounds like a crazy thing, but one thing in design, if you're looking at something like this and you want to kind of see what's showing up first, second, third, like kind of the visual hierarchy of things, one thing you can do is kind of squint at things. So if you sit back and kind of squint your eyes, you'll start to see what's popping and what's not popping and what's kind of fading in and out from your visual hierarchy. So that's kind of a good way to kind of judge things and see that. Let me just go to preview mode. And that's kind of what we're going. That's not too bad. These other story articles aren't too bad. Maybe a little, let me see if I can do a little effect on those. Do a little, I'm just going to hit the shading. See, that's going to pop it up. That did a shade in the box. If I don't want. Just looking to see what we can do. With that, I think it works perfectly fine. But again, I'm just looking. This is kind of the time that you can, you know, work it out. And it's not going to do. All right, so I'm going to do a poor man's drop shadow. I'm going to copy the whole thing. Command C, Command V. So I got this here, and I'm going to actually give it these words a black fill. And so I'm going to make these fill black. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over, and I'm going to just kind of inch it over to where I want it to be. Zoom in some so I can see what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it to the back. So now I can go into my layers. And I see that's here, and I'm going to pull that down. So you can see that what I did was I just dropped it down in my layers palette. Get in there, and I'm still active, so I can kind of determine how I want that little drop shadow to go. There we go. Just a little bit. It's so subtle you can barely see it, but I'm kind of giving a little bit of like kind of an embossing kind of thing going on with that text. And I think you'll see just by doing that little tiny little bit, it just kind of makes it pop a little bit more off of the stones. It's not too bad. It just helps it just a fraction of a bit. Okay. So now I think we're probably pretty good here with my cover. And we still got to add a date. And in this case, we can add a price in there also. So let me just do a separate little box. Let me turn on my, again, I'm going to just do a little, and we're going to put winter 2022. Dude, is that crazy? We're almost 2022 now. Where has the last 3 years gone? Particular, the last 2. And we're at 12 point. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. And oftentimes you kind of make your boxes so they kind of in play. This one's a little bit big, but I don't know, it's kind of moving them around a lot. 2022. I'm gonna give it a price. We're gonna take those and we're gonna go to our paragraphing, give them over to the right justified. And I'm just gonna pull that in. I know what my margin is here, my cut line is here. So I'm more than fine being here, or even being over a little bit. I've got plenty of room there. I'm just kind of keeping it tight so we have a nice little margin going around it. And I'm gonna move it down a little bit. Again, don't be afraid to kind of just use your arrows to move things around. Tends to work, gives you a bit more positioning, gives you some good positioning. And I'm just going to go back and clean this up a little bit. That's just me. All right. And then we can do a preview. And we've got a cover. All right. Questions on that? On how we made a cover and kind of the elements within it? Like I said, we could have a barcode, and I'll just put a spot here for a barcode. Typically, that's just a kind of a box with the code in it. And we'll just do that. And I'll give it a fill of white so you can kind of visually see it. And I can actually kind of oftentimes we do that. We know that's there. So I might just put some text inside here. This says barcode. FPO. FPO is for position only. Okay, so that's just kind of a designer way of saying something's going to go in here. And we're showing you, in this case, this white box. So you know where it's going to go and you can kind of visually represent it. Likewise, if I didn't have a picture, sometimes we'll just put, you know, photo, FPO, or just FPO. That means we just know something's going to go in there. Okay, we know we're going to have an image or picture in there. Okay, look at the zoom out. So again, this kind of gives me a little visual. I can see how close it is to other items when the barcode actually does get popped in. Okay, so it's kind of like pre-designing as we go. All right, and that's kind of it. So we got a pretty decent cover there, I think. You guys think? All right. Awake. All right, so then we're going to get into our articles in this case. And again, just because in this case, I did a cover with Dr. King, and it doesn't mean I need to do an article with him. I can, okay, but I can do 2 articles on anything else, as long as it's thematically with my park. And it doesn't even need to be one of the subheads that I did here, you know, Life in the Mountains or A River Flows. I can call it anything I want, right? We're designing, we're going through the process. So again, I'm not as be creative, okay, guys? That's what I want. I want your designs and skills to come out as we go. Most importantly. All right. So what would I do? So first, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to want next. A lot of this is going to be based upon the imagery that I'm going to be bringing in, and or stories that I have, or subject matter. Okay, so you know, it's just kind of figuring that out. So the whole point of this thing is to design, not to make you write and that kind of stuff. So if you have a story you've written, you want to make it part of your story, that's fine. You know, some people are creative when it comes to writing, or creative when it comes to photos or illustrations or drawings. By all means, feel free to bring those into your projects. But you're going to want to find articles. So if I'm just going to do articles, let me just open up Safari here real quick. And let me get to home. And we'll just put Googling mountain life. I'm just going to find some articles. There's actually churches. The home and garden thing. There's a magazine for seniors. Oh no, wow. Mountain film. And let me do mountain. Let me just, I got an hour down because it's too big. Survival stories. Oops. And that might, some of this might make me go back and change my article. That's okay too. We took 5 insane wilderness stories. Okay. So what I might do is I go come through, okay, I found this. I'm digging this little article. Now these are short, but I can kind of make it a series of stories. The point is we're going to copy and paste. Right? So this probably is a little bit short of an article. If I took the whole thing, that would be fine. But we're finding articles. We're not necessarily having to write them. So that's a little bit longer, but it's probably still short. But I'm going to just grab it for now. Scroll down. All right, I'm going to grab that. Just Command C. Once you find an article you want, over here, I'm just going to put some text box in and drop it. I know it's probably got some other stuff going on with that advertising, so I'll have to come back through and edit that out. Okay. And then at this point, I'm just going to really come through and give it the title and article. And I can use the existing article title, which was Out Alive, Sliding Down the Mountain. And that's their kind of a subhead. So I'm going to just copy that while I'm on this page. Again, I'm just putting text in, so I got it. I did not set up style sheets or master pages because at this point we're just going to work it. We're going to put in some things on the master page, but I didn't do character styles, paragraph styles because I literally got 2 articles, so I'm not going to bug it too much. But you know, if you have questions about that stuff, please let me know because you will get more into that as you get into more advanced classes with InDesign that's being used. Yeah, it's longer than I thought. That's a good thing. Okay. Let's just see how much longer is it. We got kind of a little, oops, little subhead in there. Want more podcast? Okay. So that's enough that we're going to kind of keep going. Now, in theory, this would be, I'll probably use this as my second article because my second article is only 2 pages. So I'm just going to select both of these. I'm going to catch them off. I'm going to come down here and do that for my page, second article. Put them in here. That'll give me plenty of room to work this in. I'm going to have a little picture in here and we'll do that and work that into this here. So in this case, I want to do 2 columns. I'm going to pull this down to 1 column here. All right. And then I'm going to draw in a second column. I'm just going to keep it equal for now. And we'll go back through and format. I'm going to continue my story. Select the red box. Boom. It's actually longer. Wow. I'll be darned. And let me see how much more I have left in there. I'm almost there. Okay, so we are as told by. This is garbage. This is like coming back into the ad. I'm gonna delete all this off. That. All right, so now we've got the article. We've got our title over here. which we'll format. Obviously, we'll need some photos, and we'll have to come back through and justify this or unjustify or get this set up. So we're pretty good. Not too bad a rag, just how it came in, the edging here. A couple like, this is weird, right? To get the Momo. All right, there's a moment and moraine, which is, I think, a technical climbing term. Okay, but it just kind of looks weird, right? So those are the kind of things you kind of want to look for as a designer, is what can I do to kind of fix the Momo accident that we have here. Nothing on purpose, it just kind of happened. So we'll go back through and we'll format this short little article to kind of fix things. Because ultimately our job is to make things that are legible. People want to read it. It makes it clear and concise as to reading it. And that. So we'll come back through. We're going to format this next class. I'll find a picture of quote mountains. We'll dig that up. But again, I want you to know that the articles, the pictures, all this can come from the internet. I'm totally fine with you kind of mashing things together with that. But if you have your own photos or artwork, by all means, use your own stuff, right? One, it just makes it better because it's your stuff. And I want to see it. And again, if this became something like you work this into a portfolio and expanded upon it, it's kind of cool when you can say, oh, by the way, those are my photographs. Okay, people like the fact that you can do a couple things. You know, so if you're that kind of you know, player that can, you know, you can draw, you can take photographs, you can do good design, good layout, whatever. Those are all kind of good things down the line. Okay, so start using your own stuff. And then you also kind of eliminate any copyright issues, right? I mean, if it's your photograph, you took it, you know it's yours. Nobody can go, oh, that was my photograph. You don't have to pay anybody else. If you're using your photographs for a client, you can actually charge them for that photograph. Say, hey, I got a great photo I want to use, you know, and then just kind of include that in your fees, right? Okay, that my fee includes the use of my photograph type of thing. So again, it's another way that you can make some money, whether it be a photo or drawing or illustration, that you can bring into stuff. So keep that in mind as you're working, especially freelance. Right? And if you're working for a company, it gets a little gray, especially if they paid you to go out and take a photograph, then it really belongs to the company. So if you're working in-house or something like that, and they're like, hey, go out to the Port of Long Beach and take some pictures of the ships. We're doing an article on the boats and the ports and the blockage and all that kind of stuff. That picture then belongs to them. But if you had taken pictures yourself on your time, you could sell it. You can have them buy the rights to it. Okay, so just kind of remember you can do that, and it's okay to sell your photos and your work, your drawings, that type of thing. Again, it's another way to kind of make yourself some money, or get paid to go take some photographs, right? I mean, it's like, all right, guys, take the day, go to Long Beach, get some photos. We'll see you here tomorrow, right? And you're going to go and you're going to have, have a time taking the pictures. But once you get your pictures done, then you can go to lunch, dinner, or go to the beach. It doesn't matter, right? You're there, you're getting paid for doing that. As long as you come back the next day with the photographs that they can use, you're good to go. Okay, so think about that. So next class we will continue on. We'll lay this one out, get this kind of edged up, and you guys will, I think, be right on track to finishing this up. So questions on this? Again, we'll be pretty short on Thursday also. I'm sorry, Wednesday also. Questions?
For the cover, do we have to put the barcode?
No, you don't. Okay. I didn't put it as a requirement. So no, you can, if it's gonna bug your thing, take it off. I want good design. So I don't want your designs to get messed up because of a barcode. All right. Who else?
Just double checking it. The cover's due on December 1st, right?
No, the whole thing is due December, what is it? 8th.
8th. Okay.
8th, yeah. So you're going to give me a PDF that's going to include a cover, 2 articles, and a back cover. It'll be 8 pages long.
Alrighty.
That's it. That'll be, pretty simple. And again, when I say articles here, again, that could be pictures in there, right? So it doesn't mean that it has to be all story, right? I have a story here, but I can add in multiple photos to those designs. Does that make sense? Not just like one picture. It could be many pictures. I mean, I can have this article and I could stretch this. I could do easily 3 pages with this. No problem at all. Okay, because I'm going to put in pictures, and people like pictures. That's why they get magazines and stuff. It's most magazines are full of a ton of photos, as opposed to, it's not like, I don't know, we're not doing scholarly articles. So here, you can see this, right? I got so many screens going on. Right, so here is an article. There's a big page, and we got some big type over here. And then we get into the story. Let me just get the page turned. Then we get into the story, right? We've got words and we got some more pictures that are happening. And let me see if it goes on again. Let me see if it goes one more page. It keeps going on. All right, so now we've got even more words in a picture. So you can see where you can kind of spread these things out. They don't need to be, if this is a spread, right? So this is the article. There's the title basically, and a little intro and a picture. Well, that's 2 of your 4 pages, for example.
What would be a good ratio between words and image?
What's that?
What would be a good ratio between words and image? Like,
Oh,
can I like have mine to be
yeah,
like
I think
more
I think you're
visually?
probably going to find it almost like 50-50 to some degree.
Okay.
Here's an article that cover one, that's first spread. So we've got, text and text. If you look at if you put those together, it's almost a page of text. And if you put these together, it's almost a page of pictures. Does that make sense? So that would be like a 4-page. So we've got this 2, and then we've got here's the first 2 spreads. I mean, again, it gets pretty, big and graphic, but that's what people like, right? I mean, magazines are entertainment, guys. So, these are not, these aren't scientific journals, right? It's not the New England Journal of Medicine where it's all words and it's only doctors and scientists reading that thing. Maybe some journalists. These are designed for general public, general education, general entertainment. So, I think you're going to find there's a very good mix. Even something like National Geographic, which is, pretty heavy into story and scientific kind of thing, has a pretty good ratio of, imagery to story. So here's a imagery, but with some words that go with it. And then there's part of a story. Let me just turn the page. Look, there's a whole page with a little bit of basically a caption of the photo. Again, this is all with the same article. I don't know what it was about. And then here's another, right? We've got a couple columns of text and a picture. So no, the picture's not taking up a whole page, but it's a half a page plus some, right? And then we've got the text here. So again, you don't want to cram it all in either. You also want to, what we call, create white space, which is, like this area above the M here, right? These areas that don't have text. Okay, that's a good thing, especially when it comes to magazines and such. Newspapers don't have it, but when we get to these kind of publications like a magazine, definitely the idea of white space that your eye can sit and breathe a little bit. They can pause, right? Because if it's too much, you get overwhelmed. But if there's a little bit of what we call breathing space or white space, it gives us a little bit kind of a pause to breathe out, and then we can come back to the story. Okay, so those are pretty common design techniques that you're going to find when you get into this kind of publication. Okay, other questions?
If the article is not too long, is it okay to have just like spreads, just like a
Yeah.
page with an image?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you, the whole point is to have you lay out stuff. So I'm not going to be like, well, it's got to be a 3-page article or a 500-word article. No, just make a nice layout. Does that make sense? So yes, if it's a shorter article, you can add additional pictures or make the picture bigger or whatever. I mean, I want you to kind of get used to it. Like make sure you're looking at reference, guys. You know, look at stuff on the internet. Look at magazine layouts. Look at how way people are doing it. And we'll get into that a little bit more because when we get to this first articles, we do it on Wednesday. But it's important to kind of have that reference again, especially when you're first starting out. But even myself, I've been doing this for a while. I still get the reference. I need the reference. I can't. The reference inspires me to go in my own direction. Much like if you're going to paint pictures of, I don't know, daffodils, or do pictures, or you know, you're going to want to go look at daffodils or have daffodils there, so you can draw it. And you're going to do it in your own way. Even if you were photographing, you're going to do it your own way. But you need to have those items as reference. Okay, we all know what a daffodil looks like, and if I showed you a picture, you're going to go, oh, that's a daffodil, right? It's yellow and got a little orange. You know, we know kind of what they look like, but we really don't because we're not looking at it right this second. Okay, so we need that visual reference in order to create. So in this case, when we're looking at other magazines, they're kind of the inspiration on how we will design our magazines. Okay, so design inspiration is crucial for what we're doing, and art inspiration is crucial for what we're doing it. As crazy as Van Gogh was, right? I mean, you know, he had his crazy moments. I guarantee you he was looking at the stars when he painted Starry Night, right? I mean, it's his interpretation of it all, but he was looking at the stars, and he probably maybe did some sketches or did stuff in order to, so he would know what to do. Does that make sense? It wasn't completely made up out of his head. Okay, very, very seldom is something like that. Most art design is kind of your people, artists are looking at it and interpreting it into their own way. Okay, or they looked at it, they did reference drawings, and then they're going to interpret it, or they went and took photographs and they're interpreting the photographs into their pieces of work. Okay, very, 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 very little is just from memory. Okay, maybe pure abstraction type of stuff, but you know, if there's somewhat realistic or identifiable elements, well, that's a tree, that's a lake, that's a flower. They're probably looking at stuff to make that happen. Okay. Otherwise, everything will look like a, you know, first grader's drawing, right? I mean, kids draw great, but they all have the same flower because that's how they've seen it and that's how they've envisioned drawing it. They don't look realistic because they're not looking at things. They're just going from these memories, right? Well, we all look the same as a stick figure. Okay, questions? All right. If there's questions, let me know. Wednesday, we'll get back in and we'll keep it really quick. On Wednesday, we'll go through that article, bing, bam, boom. We'll get you out of here because it's the Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll go from there. All right. Any questions? Anything else before today? So start working on your magazines. And get those done. The posters are due, I think, next week, I believe. So finish those up if you haven't already. And you know, get your theme for your magazine, start getting articles, grabbing some pictures, all that kind of stuff, getting it all organized. We'll go through a little bit more layout come Wednesday, and then you should have everything basically you need to finish it up. I'm just going to be kind of giving you additional information to help make you a little bit better at doing what we're doing. All right. Everybody good with InDesign so far?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm different.
Perfect. Good.
The
right.
requirement would
What's that?
be on your website, right?
I'm
The
sorry, say again?
the requirements for the project would be on the website.
Yeah, I put this up the other day, so it'll be this page. Well, you can't see it because I'm not sharing. Hold on. Do you hate it when I do that? Like, what you doing, man? I can't see it. Yeah, so this is up on the website. Pretty simple. Again, if you have questions, just let me know. But we're just kind of working through this as a demo. All right. Other questions? All right, guys. Have a good rest of the day. A good Tuesday. We'll see you Wednesday again. We'll keep it quick on Wednesday, and we'll go from there.
Alrighty. See you Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you,
Thanksgiving.
Professor.